The research vessel hummed softly as Kim Yunji adjusted her monitoring equipment. Outside the large observation window, Earth looked peaceful, a blue and green marble spinning quietly against the vast darkness of space. She had trained her entire life for this moment, a young researcher selected from thousands of applicants to study human biology. Park Jae-sung, her senior researcher, walked into the observation room with a cup of warm tea. His weathered hands held the ceramic mug carefully, a small gesture that caught Yunji's attention. Humans, she had learned, had fascinating ways of expressing comfort and connection through simple actions. "Are you ready?" he asked, his voice calm and steady. Yunji nodded, her fingers dancing across holographic screens displaying preliminary data about human physiological systems. She knew the basic facts. Humans were carbon-based organisms from a planet with diverse environmental conditions, capable of surviving in temperatures ranging from freezing to extremely hot regions. Their research vessel had been orbiting Earth for 3 weeks, collecting initial data through advanced scanning technologies. Today was different. Today, they would make first direct contact with human scientific representatives. The communication channel crackled to life. A woman's voice, clear and professional, spoke. "Interstellar Research Vessel. This is Dr. Emily Rodriguez from Global Scientific Exchange Program. You are cleared for initial ground interaction." Yunji's heart raced. Her training had prepared her for this moment, but nothing could truly prepare someone for the first real encounter with another intelligent species. Their landing craft was designed to be non-threatening, sleek silver with smooth edges that reflected Earth's sunlight. As they descended through the atmosphere, Yunji noticed how the landscape changed. Mountains gave way to plains, forests transformed into urban landscapes, and suddenly a massive research complex appeared. The landing was smooth. Automated systems ensured perfect positioning, and external sensors confirmed safe environmental conditions. Jae-sung looked at Yunji and smiled. "Remember," he said, "observe everything. We're here to learn." When the craft's doors opened, the first thing Yunji noticed was not the humans waiting to greet them, but the air. It felt different, filled with subtle scents of grass, metal, and something uniquely alive. Her respiratory system processed the oxygen-rich atmosphere, sending signals of excitement through her neural pathways. Dr. Rodriguez stood at the front of a small group of scientists. She was tall, with brown skin and eyes that seemed to analyze everything simultaneously. Behind her, a diverse group of researchers represented different ages, genders, and ethnic backgrounds, another fascinating aspect of human society. "Welcome to Earth," Dr. Rodriguez said, her smile genuine and welcoming. Jae-sung stepped forward, performing the standard interspecies greeting they had practiced countless times. A slight bow, hands open to show no weapons, a gesture of peaceful intentions that transcended linguistic barriers. Yunji watched closely. Her research had always been theoretical, but now reality was unfolding before her eyes. Humans moved with a grace that surprised her, each step deliberate, each gesture carrying meaning beyond mere physical movement. The first hours were a blur of scientific protocols, equipment exchanges, and careful introductions. Yunji collected initial biological samples, blood, skin cells, hair, each sample a potential key to understanding human biological complexity. What struck her most was not the scientific data, but the human interactions. They laughed easily. They touched each other's shoulders in moments of shared understanding. They expressed emotions so openly, so differently from her own species. As the first day concluded, Yunji realized this was more than a research mission. This was a journey of discovery that would challenge everything she knew about life, adaptation, and intelligence. Her initial report would be simple but profound. Humans were not just another species to be studied. They were a remarkable, complex form of life that defied conventional scientific understanding. The research had only just begun. Yunji's research lab was a marvel of technology, filled with holographic displays and advanced scanning equipment. Her focus had narrowed to one primary subject: understanding the human body's incredible biological mechanisms. Dr. Emily Rodriguez introduced her to a group of volunteer test subjects, ordinary humans who were willing to contribute to scientific research. Each subject represented a different age, body type, and genetic background, providing Yunji with a comprehensive data set. The first surprising discovery came during a simple wound healing experiment. A small cut was made on a volunteer's arm, and Yunji watched in amazement. Within hours, the human's body began a complex healing process that seemed almost magical. Platelets rushed to the wound site, white blood cells fought potential infections, and new skin cells started forming. "This is standard for us," the volunteer said, noticing Yunji's wide-eyed stare. Nothing special, but to her, it was extraordinary. Her own species required advanced medical interventions for similar injuries. Humans did this naturally, efficiently, without even thinking about it. The immune system tests revealed even more surprising results. When exposed to various pathogens, human blood cells displayed an incredible adaptability. They didn't just fight known threats, they learned and remembered. Each interaction made the immune response stronger, more precise. Jae Sung reviewed her initial findings, his experienced eyes catching details she might have missed. "The human body is not just a system," he explained. "It's a living, learning organism." Genetic analysis brought another wave of discoveries. Human DNA contained remarkable flexibility. Unlike many species with rigid genetic structures, humans could adapt quickly to environmental changes. Their genetic code seemed to have built-in mechanisms for rapid modification. Physical endurance tests pushed the boundaries of her understanding. Volunteers demonstrated abilities that seemed impossible. One runner completed a marathon, her body maintaining performance levels that would have destroyed most biological systems. Another subject demonstrated flexibility that seemed to defy basic anatomical limitations. "Humans train their bodies," Dr. Rodriguez explained. "We don't just accept our current limitations, we challenge them." Neurological studies were perhaps the most fascinating. The human brain's plasticity shocked Yunji. Neural pathways could reform, learn new skills and adapt at speeds her scientific models couldn't fully explain. An elderly volunteer learned a complex musical instrument, demonstrating that human learning wasn't confined by age. During a particularly interesting experiment, Yunji discovered something profound about human stress responses. Unlike many species that break under prolonged stress, humans seem to have internal mechanisms that not only survived but potentially grew stronger. One volunteer shared a personal story about overcoming a serious illness. His body had fought back, adapting, changing, refusing to surrender. It wasn't just a medical case, it was a narrative of biological resilience. The reproductive system presented another marvel. Human reproduction involved complex emotional and biological interactions that went far beyond simple genetic transfer. The ability to nurture offspring, the intricate hormonal changes, the long-term parental investment all seemed like sophisticated survival strategies. Nutritional studies revealed humans could derive energy from an incredibly diverse range of food sources. Their digestive systems were adaptive cooking laboratories, breaking down complex molecules with remarkable efficiency. As weeks passed, Yunji's initial research hypothesis transformed. Humans were not just another species to be studied. They were a living experiment in biological adaptation, a testament to evolutionary creativity. Her notes became filled with wonder. Words like remarkable, unexpected, and extraordinary appeared repeatedly. Each data point challenged her previous scientific understanding. Jae Sung watched her growing excitement with a knowing smile. "Science is not about confirming what we know," he told her one evening. "It's about being surprised by what we discover." By the research period's end, Yunji had compiled data that would likely revolutionize interstellar biological understanding. Humans were not just survivors, they were a biological marvel, a species that seemed to dance with the very principles of life itself. Her final thoughts that night were simple, yet profound. Humans were not just a species, they were a biological miracle. The research center buzzed with quiet energy as Yunji prepared for her most challenging study yet, understanding human psychological resilience. Her previous biological discoveries had been impressive, but the mental landscape of humans promised to be even more complex. Dr. Rodriguez introduced her to a group of volunteers with extraordinary life stories. Each person carried experiences that would have broken most biological systems, yet they sat calmly, ready to share their journeys. The first subject was Mark, a veteran who had survived multiple combat experiences. His eyes held a depth that scientific instruments could never fully measure. When he spoke about his experiences, Eunji noticed something remarkable, not just survival, but a profound ability to transform pain into purpose. "We don't just endure," Mark explained. "We learn. We grow." Another volunteer, Sarah, had survived a serious medical condition that would have been fatal to most species. Her story wasn't just about physical recovery, but about mental reconstruction. She had not only healed her body, but reshaped her entire life perspective. Psychological tests revealed layers of complexity that shocked Eunji. Humans possessed an extraordinary ability to create meaning from suffering. Where other species might collapse, humans seemed to find strength in challenge. Jae-sung observed the research carefully. "Humans don't just respond to trauma," he told Eunji. "They metabolize it. They turn pain into fuel." The team designed complex stress experiments. Volunteers were placed in simulated, challenging environments, isolated spaces, complex problem-solving scenarios, emotional trigger situations. The results were consistently surprising. Most subjects didn't just survive these challenges, they found creative solutions. Their brains seemed to activate additional neural pathways when under pressure, generating innovative responses that defied standard psychological models. One particularly fascinating experiment involved emotional resilience. Volunteers were asked to recall painful memories while being monitored. Instead of breaking down, most participants demonstrated an ability to process emotions constructively. They didn't just feel, they understood their feelings. A young woman named Lisa shared a story about losing her family. Her ability to transform grief into a mission of helping others was not just emotional survival. It was a form of psychological alchemy that defied scientific explanation. The research team discovered that human psychological resilience wasn't about avoiding pain. It was about moving through it, understanding it, and ultimately transcending it. Neurological scans showed something extraordinary. When faced with challenges, human brains didn't just activate defensive mechanisms. They created new connections, generated hope, and designed potential solutions. "Humans are not defined by what happens to them," Dr. Rodriguez explained. "They're defined by how they respond." Comparative studies with other known intelligent species revealed a unique human trait, the ability to find humor and hope in the most challenging circumstances. Where other species might see only obstacles, humans saw opportunities. The team documented case after case of extraordinary psychological adaptation. Survivors of natural disasters, individuals who overcame extreme poverty, people who rebuilt their lives after significant losses. Each story was a testament to human mental flexibility. Eunji's research notes became filled with words that went beyond scientific terminology. Words like courage, hope, and transformation appeared alongside complex neurological data. One experiment particularly stood out. Volunteers were placed in scenarios designed to trigger stress responses. Instead of displaying typical biological stress markers, most participants demonstrated what could only be described as creative problem-solving. Jae-sung watched the data with increasing fascination. "They don't just survive," he told Eunji. "They reimagine survival itself." By the research period's end, Eunji had compiled a revolutionary understanding of human psychological mechanisms. Humans were not just a species that survived. They were a species that consistently redefined the boundaries of survival. Her final observation was both scientific and philosophical. Humans didn't just adapt to their environment, they transformed it from the inside out. The research had revealed something profound. Human psychological resilience was not just a biological function, it was a form of ongoing creation, a continuous process of becoming. As the day ended, Eunji looked at her data with a sense of wonder. Humans were not just a subject of study, they were a living revelation. The laboratory hummed with excitement as Unji and her team prepared for their most ambitious project yet. Combining human biological insights with advanced technological systems would challenge everything they knew about innovation. Dr. Rodriguez arrived with a group of engineers and medical specialists. Their goal was simple but revolutionary: create biotechnological protocols that could transform medical practices across different species. Initial experiments focused on human cellular adaptability. The team discovered that human cells could integrate with advanced nanotechnology in ways no other known species could. Where most biological systems would reject artificial interfaces, human cells seemed to communicate and adapt. A young engineer named David demonstrated a prototype neural interface. Unlike previous designs that required invasive procedures, this technology could connect directly with human neural pathways with minimal intrusion. The human brain didn't just accept the technology, it collaborated with it. Jae-sung watched carefully, his experienced eyes catching subtle details. Humans don't see technology as separate, he explained to Yunji. They see it as an extension of themselves. The most exciting breakthrough came during a regenerative medicine experiment. By combining human cellular resilience with advanced nanobots, the team created a healing system that could potentially repair complex tissue damage in ways previously impossible. One volunteer, a former athlete with a severe spinal injury, underwent an experimental treatment. Traditional medical approaches had failed him, but this new integrated technology showed remarkable promise. Neural connections began rebuilding, muscle tissues regenerated, and movement returned. "It's not just about fixing," the volunteer said, moving his previously paralyzed fingers. "It's about reimagining what's possible." Genetic modification experiments revealed another layer of human potential. Unlike other species with rigid genetic structures, human DNA seemed to have built-in adaptive mechanisms that could work harmoniously. With technological interventions, the team developed a revolutionary diagnostic system. By combining human biological markers with advanced artificial intelligence, they created a predictive health monitoring technology that could detect potential health issues years before they manifested. Dr. Rodriguez explained the significance. "We're not replacing human biology," she said. "We're creating a conversation between biology and technology." Quantum computing specialists joined the research, fascinated by human neural processing. They discovered that human brain patterns could potentially solve complex computational problems more efficiently than traditional computing systems. One experiment involved a complex mathematical challenge. Where standard computers would take weeks to process, a human brain integrated with a specialized neural interface solved the problem in hours. Yunji's research revealed something profound. Humans didn't just use technology, they had an almost intuitive ability to understand and expand technological possibilities. Prosthetic technology reached new heights. Instead of simple mechanical replacements, the team developed neural integrated limbs that could provide sensation, emotional response, and near-natural movement. A veteran who had lost his arm demonstrated the new technology. The prosthetic didn't just replace a limb, it became part of his biological system, responding to neural commands with unprecedented precision. Sustainability technologies also benefited from human-inspired designs. By studying human bodies' efficient energy management, engineers developed new systems for renewable energy and resource management. "Humans learn from nature," Jae-sung told Yunji. "They don't just observe, they understand and recreate." The most unexpected discovery came from emotional intelligence integration. The team developed AI systems that could understand and respond to complex human emotional states, creating more empathetic technological interactions. As the research period concluded, Yunji realized they had done more than create new technologies. They had discovered a new approach to innovation, one that saw technology not as a separate tool, but as a living, adaptive system. Her final report was revolutionary. Humans weren't just creating technology, they were evolving alongside it, creating a symbiotic relationship that challenged every previous understanding of technological development. The laboratory buzzed with potential. Somewhere between human biology and technological innovation, they had discovered something extraordinary, a new frontier of human potential. As night fell, Yunji looked at her research with a sense of wonder. Humans were not just a species. They were a continuous, evolving miracle. The conference hall was silent as Yunji prepared to present her final research findings. Years of study had led to this moment, a presentation that would challenge everything her scientific community believed about human potential. Delegates from multiple star systems sat waiting, their technological devices scanning every detail. Of her presentation, Jae-sung sat in the front row, his experienced eyes filled with quiet pride. "Humans are not just another species," Yunji began, her voice steady. "They are a living demonstration of evolutionary potential." Her presentation revealed discoveries that would reshape interstellar scientific understanding. Biological adaptability, psychological resilience, technological integration. Each aspect of human existence challenged previous scientific models. The holographic displays showed complex data streams. Cellular regeneration rates, neural plasticity, emotional intelligence metrics, all pointed to something extraordinary. Humans were not just survivors. They were continuous creators of their own potential. A Krelnarian scientist interrupted. "How is this possible? No species demonstrates such comprehensive adaptive capabilities." Yunji smiled. Her research had anticipated such questions. She presented case studies, humans who had overcome genetic limitations, transformed personal tragedies into global movements, created technological innovations from simple observations. One example showed a human scientist who developed a revolutionary medical treatment after personal experience with a rare genetic condition. Another demonstrated how a group of students solved complex environmental challenges using creative thinking. The technological integration findings were particularly shocking. Human neural systems could communicate with advanced computing platforms in ways no other known species could. Their ability to learn, adapt, and reimagine technological possibilities was unprecedented. Genetic studies revealed another marvel. Human DNA contained adaptive mechanisms that allowed rapid environmental adjustment. Where most species required thousands of generations to adapt, humans could modify their biological and technological approaches within a single generation. Humans do not accept limitations, Yunji explained. They redesign them. The psychological resilience data presented an even more profound picture. Humans transformed trauma into creativity, converted challenges into opportunities. Their emotional intelligence wasn't just a survival mechanism, it was a powerful evolutionary tool. Jae-sung stepped forward, adding context to Yunji's presentation. "We are not just observing a species," he told the assembled scientists. "We are witnessing a living evolutionary experiment." Biological studies showed humans could survive and thrive in environments that would destroy most known species. From extreme temperatures to complex social challenges, humans demonstrated an extraordinary capacity for adaptation. The most revolutionary finding was subtle but profound. Humans didn't just respond to their environment, they actively participated in its transformation. Their technological, biological, and social systems were in constant creative dialogue. Delegates from various star systems looked stunned. Some seemed uncomfortable. Others appeared genuinely fascinated. Yunji's research was challenging fundamental assumptions about intelligence, evolution, and potential. "Humans are not defined by their current state," she concluded. "They are defined by their capacity to reimagine themselves." The final slide showed something unexpected, a collection of human stories. A child overcoming a serious illness, a community rebuilding after a natural disaster, scientists developing groundbreaking technologies, artists creating beauty from difficult experiences. These weren't just individual stories, they were demonstrations of a species-wide capacity for continuous transformation. When the presentation ended, the conference hall remained silent. Then, slowly, discussions began. Questions emerged. Challenges were raised. But underneath the scientific debate, something fundamental had shifted. Jae-sung approached Yunji after the presentation. "You've done more than present research," he said quietly. "You've opened a window into a new understanding of life itself." Her research would be published across multiple scientific platforms, but more importantly, it would change how intelligent species viewed potential adaptation and the very nature of evolution. As evening fell, Yunji looked out at the star-filled sky. Humans were not just a species to be studied. They were a continuous, unfolding miracle, a testament to the extraordinary potential of life itself. The paradigm had transformed, and this was just the beginning.